Welcome to Marshall County Today. It's a new talk show aimed at informing you about stories, people, and businesses around your neighborhood. This week it's Ag Week, and Max 98.3 is proud to welcome in our friends from, from our local farms here, and from Farm Bureau being a big part of it this year. And again, as always,
Absolutely.
Charlie Huyen, how the heck are you? You look great.
Thank you.
We're also videoing this on Max 98.3 stream exclamation point. If you want to watch it on a new YouTube channel, it's Max 98.3 stream exclamation point, and you will be able to see this live as it's happening. So, Charlie, my dear friend, you need to show everybody what you came walking in with.
You're right. I came in
Yes.
looking like an old man
Yes.
since I am retired president of Marshall County Farm Bureau.
Yeah. Look how handsome you are still after all these years.
As young as I am.
And who is this lovely guest that you brought with?
Absolutely. This is our new extension agent from Marshall County, Brianna Sloniker.
Hi, Brianna. Good to see you again, kiddo.
Nice to see you too.
You were just reminding me that the last time you were here to do a show was 2018?
February of 2018, yeah.
My God, how do you remember that?
Because I could not get back through the viaduct because of the flooding that
that's
happened.
right.
Yeah. So when I come in that morning, I was able to come in, go under the viaduct here, and then we did the show. And I could not get back and had to turn around because the water was already so high.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when you were here in Plymouth, you did so many amazing things. It was I just knew you were destined for great things. And you come back home, and here you are. What's your title now? What do you do now?
So I am the Ag and Natural Resources Extension Educator for Marshall County. So I work for Purdue now.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations. Yeah. Sounds like you got a fun gig hearing your schedule recently.
Oh, yeah. So there's many different things that we can do. We're a jack of all trades, master of none is what I like to say. Here. Although, we are becoming more specialized. So, but yeah, no, I'm just getting back and still recovering from a trip from Canada, taking the Indiana 4-H Dairy Youth Academy kids up there and learning all about the Canadian dairy industry.
So you got a job that you travel?
Yes.
Oh, my God. And here I am in radio. Well, I don't even know why.
We traveled to see you, Tony.
Is that what you did?
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
I appreciate that. Charlie, what you up to, buddy? You're looking good.
We are doing all sorts of cool things now on the farm. We're working on and concentrating on our carbon scoring for our farms. And that's a new term.
That is a new term. So what exactly is it?
What it is the government now scores a farm. You can get preferential treatment on your pricing for your products if you have a good carbon score. So that could be things like fertilizer placement, better fertilizer placement. So instead of just spreading it, broadcasting your fertilizer, putting it right next to the corn plant, so it's more efficient.
Right.
On the uptake, no-tilling your crops, using cover crops, variable rate technology.
Now, how much is this different from what you normally do? Is it all different?
Now, on our farm, we took it in stages. So we've been doing this for over 20 years. We've been variable rating our products. Our nitrogen has been variable rated ever since I would say 14 even. We were variable rating our nitrogen back then. So taking it from a step to step to step to step, and now we're getting to the point where we're managing those micronutrients. Not that they're minor to crop production, they're very major in crop production, but we're managing the placement of those nutrients so that we can literally cut those rates in half.
Well, that's efficient.
Yeah, we're getting down to the nitty gritty. What are we doing? How are we going to do it? How are we doing things? Because now we're using biologicals out there in the field. Biological is something that's been around for a little bit, but nobody's really quite figured out how to use them. But we're learning how to use them through Purdue and through the extension office so that we can learn how to use them more efficiently. So it's no secret out there, you have biologicals out there that help you with your nitrogen intake on your crop. We were able to reduce our nitrogen output, how much we're putting out there on our corn plant, and getting the right amount of nitrogen to our corn plant, which is vital for that process of converting sunlight into energy. And we're able to do that with 20 pounds left nitrogen per acre.
Wow, that is efficient.
So we're able, and it's pumping that plant full of nitrogen clear throughout the growing season. And the fun part about this, Tony, is that it's actually pulling nitrogen from the air itself. It's not pulling it from the soil bank.
Really?
So the air that we breathe in is what, 80% nitrogen?
Somewhere in there.
So it's a very high rate of nitrogen in it.
Right.
Not to get into the numbers specifically, because I'm sure our listeners out there somebody knows that number.
Right.
But it's on the 80+% the nitrogen we take in from our air. Well, they developed a bacteria that you inject into the plant that's safe for the environment and pulls that nitrogen out of the air and really allows that plant to, so we're getting
flourish, yeah.
Getting 20 pounds of what we need right out of the air. It pulls a little bit out of the air every day. Kind of helps to clean up the environment a little bit, because those corn plants now are using more CO2 from the atmosphere, and that's really helping that.
So this sounds like another, I don't know if it's a breakthrough, but it kind of sounds like a discovery of a way of making our crops more productive, to where you're not losing an X amount of percentage of your crops that you end up harvesting at the end of the in the fall. Is that what's actually happening? What it's doing? It's enhancing and making the harvest more consistent throughout the summer by just these little things of pulling nitrogen out, putting it into the plant that needs it, and then helping it grow the way you anticipate it to grow.
A lot of what we do is the challenging part on my end as a farmer now is making sure that crop gets the right amount of nutrients it needs at the right time, because certain stages of the corn crop need certain amount of fertilizer. So by a certain point, it needs so much fertilizer when it's knee high. When it starts to tassel, it needs so much fertilizer. A lot of people don't realize that the corn plant needs the majority of its fertilizer uptake is taken at tassel time.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. I had no idea.
And the problem has always been, corn at tassel is about 8 foot tall. How do you feed it?
Yeah.
You got to feed it ahead of time. But now we're starting to get the technologies out there that we can go out there and we can feed that corn plant later, which helps us with production. But it really prevents a lot of things like runoff, excessive fertilization, because especially our soils in Marshall County, we work with chemistry a lot.
Sure.
You have the good soils over where you're from.
Yeah, she's making fun of me because we got good soils, and I'm going to talk about CEC's cation exchange capacity. For those that pay attention during their science chemistry classes during high school.
Pretty cool thing, if you ask me.
But that's another thing. I mean, again, I know I don't, because I'm not a farmer, but the soil here in Marshall County, it's different at different locations, right?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. The way Miss Loneker's soils are over in her area, they're very porous. They don't have they don't have the ability to hold that nutrients. Over where I have some ability to hold nutrients in different areas of the field.
So you have to use a different way of growing your crops then?
So not necessarily. So one thing to like always remember about farmers is you have some that are very advanced in technology, and you have some that technology is not yet available to them. It doesn't make sense for their operation yet.
Okay.
And I'd like to say that we're getting up there on the technology, as we're not quite as precise, but we definitely do watch what we're doing, watch what we're putting on. One of the main goals is, you don't want to over fertilize. If you're over fertilizing, that's just going to go back into the environment. That's going to be bad. And then you're also spending money on that too. So what's the maximum amount of yield and what's the minimum amount of fertilizer that you can put on? So that's what we tend to focus on more. But farming practices do look a lot different over from where I'm from compared to Charlie. We see a lot more irrigation and irrigated fields, just because they don't have that water holding capacity to them. So yeah, just a little different. So
folks, if you're just tuning in, it's Ag Week. Can you tell? And this is why I'm glad we have this, because it's an education moment for a simpleton like me who doesn't understand everything. When I jumped in Charlie's tractor, man, the only thought went through my head was, man, this is cool as hell. I can't wait to drive this thing one of these days, and not understand that is a technological miracle on how it helps our crops here, the cropping here, the harvest, I should say, and how precise it has to be when you're plowing your field, when you're putting down what you need to put down to make a good crop happen. It's a big piece of technology. That it's not just a big tractor, Tony. It's life, and that's the amazing thing that a lot of folks don't understand. And having you guys kind of talk about, I had no idea that there was all different kinds of soils in Marshall County. That you got to handle your farming different than what Charlie does. Now, we made such strides in technology. Okay. Do you see more coming down the pike here? I mean, because it seems right now we're taking some big time strides in helping out farmers all across America, it seems like.
Absolutely, Tony. One of the things that we were talking about before we went on the air was drone training for farmers coming up here in August.
April. Here in a couple weeks, yeah.
Here in April in Argus. And that may sound like what? Yeah. But we do have drones on our farms now. They range from the small ones that you can get from DJI, where you go out there and you just fly the field and scout what's going on out there in the field. I can cover 400 acres in a matter of 20 minutes. That's a huge advantage for somebody like me.
Right.
To the ones that actually go out there and apply chemistries, fungicides to the corn plants.
So in this drone, what is it doing? What's this drone doing? Just giving you pictures, or is there data that's coming with this? Is it looking at the landscape and all the above?
All the above. So it depends upon what exactly your drone is. So if like Charlie was just talking about spray drones. Well, some drones, they can spray and apply those chemistries.
The drone itself?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. So you have nozzles on all four quadrants of the drone. Then you set your rate that you want to apply at, and away you go on that field. I haven't personally been there for a whole field application, but more of what I've been and helped with is more spot treatments. So say you got a spot of burr cucumber in your field, late season, you can't get the sprayer in there. Let's go take care of that with a drone and get that. So that way you're not spraying the whole field. You're not spending money on a lot more product than what you need to.
I didn't know that. With
that, you can also spread cover crops. You can seed various things such as ditches, grassways. Some
You can seed
them. Yep.
Seed 'em.
Yep. So you can spread seed through a drone.
You can actually get an attachment for your spray drone that is like a granular applicator, and you can put your cover crop seed in it, which helps your carbon scoring.
Sure.
And you go out there and you can just seed
Okay,
it
so
over
how
the
does it know
existing
how
crop.
much to put down?
You program that.
You
in.
program it. Yeah.
Wow.
And then let's see. So that's just a spray drone alone. On top of that, you also have your other drones where you do look at the landscaping. You are able to measure your hills and your low points and all that through GIS mapping. But you also have, it's called NDVI technology. Don't ask me what NDVI stands for right now because I'm not sure I can pull that off the top of my head. It's still early. But what that will do is it will measure crop health. So if it shows up red on your screen in a certain point in your field, okay, yep, those plants are struggling right there. I need to go pinpoint. I need to go look, get eyes on that portion of the field, see what's going on. Or if you're green, you know that plant is healthy and you're good to go. It also allows for opportunities to look at wet spots if you need to replant. There's so many different things that you can do with it.
That's amazing.
You can actually measure the number of plants you have out there in the field so you know what your stand is.
Population
Counts.
Wow.
And it's not just for the cropping industry either. Livestock industry also uses it as well. Out in their feed yards and stock yards, they will actually put a drone up to count the cattle, make sure everybody's good health, all that good stuff, see if they need to go check on anything.
I guess I shouldn't be surprised because drones do about everything, but wow, that's some technology. That is some tech work happening. Charlie, for you owning your farm and the acreage that you do, has this technology been more of a has it been a godsend for you? I mean, guys, farming has changed so much, and it's more now than going out every day looking at crops, looking at your highlands and your lowlands and what kind of soil it is, what feed's working now. I mean, it really looks like it's taking the guesswork out of it and really making your farm, for example, efficient.
It has. It's really, I think of it as more of a big calculus equation because one variable will change how it reacts with all the other variables. And it's turned it into a very, you do this, you're going to get this result. If you don't do this, you're going to get this result, negative or positive. And it's really refined it down to with the data that we've collected. I've had some people come in from the automotive industry. I got friends that come down from Detroit, and they're in the automotive industry. They look at some of the stuff I'm working with. They thought, oh, we're big data and all this stuff. And then they looked at me and they're like, no, we're not big data.
We're small potato. That's what we are compared to you.
Because farmers are literally taking a data point. When they're harvesting, for example, running that big combine across the field, that combine is collecting about 5 different data points.
Oh, wow.
Every 2 seconds as it goes across the field.
You should see the monitor screens set up in a combine or a planter mid-season.
Now, Charlie, I know you. Now, don't take this the wrong way, but how in the Sam Hill have you learned all this stuff?
In stride. It took a lot to learn, and it's a lot to learn, just like flying a drone. It's not something, there's a reason why they have a 2-day course in Argus for flying a drone. Because it takes not only hand controls, but you got to know some computer programming. You got to be fluent with a computer. For me, everything's based off of an Excel spreadsheet. A lot of my farm records are. And you got to understand how to pull that information in and take it out. And a lot of that was learned through, the base of it, I should say, was learned through Purdue. Now, once I graduated Purdue in 2000, I learned very quickly I don't know everything. And that was just the starting point, is what I found out.
Right.
So through Purdue Extension, I've been taking ongoing classes all these years. So I've taken classes through Purdue Extension. I've also done a lot of commercial classes, I would say, through Ag Leader, which is a big ag. They were the first to the industry for yield monitors and for data collection, and they've developed a lot of things over the years. But I'd taken a lot of their courses when they came around. They would have courses in Indianapolis that I would go to, 3-day courses on how to just run the desktop software.
It's crazy. We're talking with Charlie Huyen, former president of our local farm bureau, and we got Brianna Sloniker here as well. And I kind of want to, you dumbfounded me with the technology that's going on right now.
Tony's speechless. This is a first.
Yeah, I'm waiting to drop more over here.
No. I just didn't. I guess I just never stopped to think how technology and ag would be so hand in hand. Now, I say that knowing back in your day in high school, back when everything that you were involved with agriculture, and now that you've graduated and now you've got a job here, Brianna, agriculture has spun off in so many different directions. You can apply. It's more than just working on a farm.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm listening to you sitting here telling me all things a drone can do, and so talk a little bit about that. It's agriculture today is not your mom and dad's agriculture back then. It is far different, isn't it? And there's so many other opportunities, so many other fields in agriculture that have become available. And you've taken advantage of about every single one of them, I think.
I don't know about that quite yet, but definitely growing up in agriculture and growing up on a farm, like I have witnessed firsthand how technology has changed. So like Charlie over here, he was talking about when technology came onto his farm, how he was taking classes. He learned a lot of it at Purdue. What that looked like on my family's farm was my brother and I, we were young enough, of course, younger generation has definitely picked up the technology pretty quick, especially since we grew up in the growth of it.
Right.
And so watching that technology come in and just learning how to use that technology and helping my dad and uncle use it, that is what my experience with that has been. So I remember the days where there really wasn't a yield monitor in the combine to now I know that, we have, I think it's 2 or 3 different monitors now in the combine. Same thing. I remember planting and it being on a smaller tractor. I want to say I was around for an 8-row planter or so for us, but I'm not positive on that. So Dad, if you're listening, I'm sorry. But watching that, watching it when you were driving it by hand and you had to make sure your lines were straight, setting your row markers, all that good stuff. To last spring, I actually had the opportunity to learn how to plant, and that was all auto steer. So just watching that on our farm alone has been absolutely incredible. And then on top of that, going to Purdue, learning the technologies available at Purdue, being able to bring home that knowledge to the farm has definitely been incredible as well. Not only did I do that, but now I have a job where I can share that with the community and be a resource to the community as well.
Absolutely.
So that's been incredible.
Well, you're made to do that.
I don't know about that.
No, you're a wonderful people person.
But another aspect of the one that I just was engulfed in here a week ago was the dairy industry between the U.S. and Canada and how prevalent technology is in that industry, such as robotic milkers, the e-collars, tracking and gathering data off of the cattle as they're eating, as they're laying down, seeing what their health is, seeing what their steps are, how much they're milking. All that is just incredible.
So let me ask you this. Should we be worried as a country about the status of our agriculture. And I bring this up because you start hearing solar farms taking up agriculture land. You hear a lot of that, quite frankly. And then if it's not one thing, it's another that's taking up agricultural land. Do we need to be starting to push a little harder about, hey, we need to be keeping what we have here because we're going to be needing it? Our technology will help us if there's, like, for example, land available to agriculture, but it hasn't been for one reason or another. But because of technology, we can utilize that land that has not been used. And that's kind of, it's all coming full circle today in this interview for me. And because I keep hearing that agriculture is becoming not just tougher, but local farms, farmers who have had it in the family for 100 years, they're disappearing or they're getting bought out one way or another. So in your guys' opinion, being the experts that you are we okay right now? Well, I would imagine we're okay now, but the future's not exactly all as bright as it's been.
I would say that we need to be concerned about taking ground out of agricultural production, even though it might be a little bit poorer soils, because I've seen enough technology in the last 5 years to increase the productivity of those soils that's incredible, whether that's through drip tape irrigation over the top, strip tilling. There's a lot of different ways to make that soil a lot more productive than what it has, I would say, people have seen in the past 10 years. What's really concerning to me as a farmer is we are seeing ground being eaten up by solar farms. Up in St. Joe County, they took some of the best soils in the area and turned it into a solar farm. Now, that is a concern of mine.
Sure.
That's kind of scary from a farmer's perspective because we're taking very good ground and people are just saying we're going to turn it into solar panels. And not only protection from like the ability to lose that ground for food production, literally. And in our county, some of these sandier soils, what people don't realize is that it's ideal for food production, direct food production. People don't realize we grow potatoes here. We grow onions here. We're vegetable crops in Marshall County. We grow blueberries.
Tomatoes, green beans.
The list just goes on and on. I went to the grocery store last night and got groceries. Most of the things in the grocery store I picked up, we can grow here in our county. Mm-hmm. Literally. And there's a reason why Del Monte had a factory here for so long. There's a reason why Pioneer located one of their biggest plants here and kept it.
Right.
In Plymouth, Indiana.
Yeah, that's true. That's I never thought about that.
There's a reason why
you're educating me.
There's a reason why there's blueberries just north of Plymouth here in La Paz, that multiple blueberry farms and fruit production farms in those soils because they're very unique for that production. And they do take those crops and the canning plant may be in Michigan, but they're grown here and right here in our own community.
So the concerns are there. The concerns are definitely there, it sounds like.
My concern is, yes, with the solar panels, I'm also concerned about water as well. Water's become a very big, hot topic for the state of Indiana.
Okay.
We got people.
Can you explain that? Because I again, my ignorance, but I know I'm not the only ignorant one listening to this here. So why is the water becoming a really hot topic here?
The bigger cities are running out of water because the population's growing. There are projections of Indianapolis physically running out of water to support their population, just like what people would see out in LA. So they are actually going out there to farm fields and sinking big wells in and pumping water out for industrial uses.
So that's taking up farmland.
And, well, it's taking moisture out of the soil.
Which your crops need.
One thing that a farmer has to have is sunshine, and they got to have rain at the right time and water at the right time.
Sure.
And here in northern Indiana and southern Michigan, we experience a lot of irrigated ground here.
How much is that due to the Lake Michigan?
That's a good question. I'm not sure on that.
Because to me, the average Joe would think that the water tables here are okay because of Lake Michigan, but I don't know what gets funneled out of that lake and what doesn't. I don't know. I was just assuming water soaks into the land, and there's where the benefit comes from. But that's not the case in Indianapolis. It has nothing anywhere close to it.
They have the Wabash River. The water that we have, the aquifer that we pull our water from for irrigation systems, actually come from Lake Erie, not Lake Michigan.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
There's a big aquifer that comes from Lake Erie into this area, and that's where we actually draw the water out of.
No kidding.
The one thing that we have in northern Indiana that protects us a little bit more is that the Great Lake Pacts that was created almost, I want to say 20 years ago.
Okay.
That Great Pact says that they can't pump water from Lake Michigan or the Great Lakes area and ship it off to Indianapolis or ship it to LA or Reno or other places. It has to stay in this area because it's international trade waters.
Oh.
Canada was involved with that Great Lakes Pact along with Illinois, Michigan, everybody, Wisconsin, everybody that touches a Great Lake is involved with that pact.
I had no idea about that. That's crazy.
But here in Indiana, because it is water, it is an aquifer that we have access to, we can use it in northern Indiana, which makes it great for our vegetable production.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. Wow, I had no idea about that pact. Now, we talk about the resources we have here, that here our Marshall County farmers are able to utilize and stuff. What are some things that got to change? Are there any things that got to change to help enhance? Now, I know you guys, you've been for a long time, Charlie, a wonderful representative in our community, in Marshall County especially, you and John, actually, going down to the state and reminding our representatives, hey, this bill that's coming out, this is what it's going to do to us. And you need to think twice before you say yes to this or no to this for these reasons. Are you still able to do that?
We do that. I went down there to the State House this year with Farm Bureau. We talked with our state rep, Jack Jordan, and a few other state reps and senators, and we had some good conversations of what's coming down the road. We came in towards the end of the session, but one of the things that we're talking about is water rights, maintaining those water rights for farmers to run irrigation systems, to getting the water away from us as well, flooding issues. We have a dam issue going on up there at the Lake of the Woods again.
Do we? Okay.
Yeah, it's another things that we just have to have good communication with our city cousins and be a little bit patient because they like to rotate in every 5 years. A new group rotates in, it seems like.
Right.
So we got to work with them and educate them as well. The things that I look for more than anything, I think the biggest challenge out there is, as a farmer, is communicating with my neighbors. I think that's a big factor. I'm not exactly, we were talking about YouTube videos and things like that.
You're not that kind of guy.
I'm not a YouTuber. Mm-hmm. I'm not a Facebooker. I'm not really an Instagram type of guy, but I'm forcing myself to use those platforms more and understand how to communicate better. It's kind of like when I go out and spray a field. Mm-hmm. I know all my neighbors out there. I know Steve Neff has bees out there. And I literally have a Rolodex on my phone that I go, okay, I'm going to be spraying by Steve Neff in the next 2 days, roughly. So I call Steve up and go, Steve, hey, I'm going to be spraying in your neighborhood. This is why I'm going to be spraying. I want you to have ample time to protect your bees from any insecticides that might be sprayed or not sprayed. And Steve goes, okay, let me know what day it is. I'll take care of it on my end. So having that communication and be open to being able to communicate with people and working with people is,
it's instrumental.
it's kind of key anymore to prevent problems from happening. Because I do get a phone call from the state chemist about once a year about something that I missed.
Sure.
And that's, and the state
you're
chemist.
covering a lot of acreage.
Yeah, and that's the government entity that kind of makes sure that everybody's following the rules.
Right. And you got to have that. I mean, that you just got to have that. And again, you guys at Farm Bureau have really taken the bull by the horn on that, and it's good to know you do provide representation for Marshall County. We're getting ready to make some decisions on roads getting cut off by the 30 project and the 31 project.
Correct.
So, in your eyes, both of you, do you see this being as a complicated issue as I'm hearing it's going to be? Or is this one of those things where you can manage, but, is it going to completely affect how you guys crop? Because if you use a road that gets cut off, you got to figure out, you got to have to go the long way around to finish off the other side of your field. So, I mean, I guess maybe the better question is, there a lot of situations like that during this discussion of the reconstruction of the roads, the big roads?
The nice part about being a part of that discussion, and I've been a part of that discussion now for almost 2 years with Ty. He has a committee there of local people that live and businesses that live along that 30 and 31. And just to be clear, the 30 corridor actually goes down to about Argus to County Road 100.
The 31, that's the 31 corridor.
30 corridor. So what they're putting together is a plan for 30 and 31. And I'm kind of excited about what I've seen about it, because we're taking people that travel from Argus to Plymouth every day and getting on 31 and getting off at 31 in a short span of about a mile. They're going to take those folks and kind of reroute them a little bit so that you don't have to get on 31 anymore.
Okay.
You can kind of skirt 31 and go right on past, and I feel that it's going to make things a lot safer for that stretch of road.
But for the farmer, though,
for me farming, I think that it's going to make things safer for me, in a way, because we use a lot of semis. On our farm alone. We got 6 semis, and I'd never thought I'd be in the trucking industry. And I had the guy point out to me, a fellow farmer, go, "You realize you're in the trucking industry whether you like it or not."
Right.
And I go, "Yeah, you got a point there."
Dang you.
But I don't want my guys pulling out on 31 going 20 mile an hour or less, getting rear-ended from somebody that's going 80, because they're in a rush to get from Indianapolis to South Bend or wherever they're going, or doing whatever they're doing. So allowing truck flows to come on and off of 31 in a fashion that's safe is something that's important to me. And my insurance company. Farm Bureau Insurance. A lot less car wrecks would go a long ways. And I didn't...
Brianna, does it affect your guys' farm where you're located, or
not really?
Not really.
So probably the biggest. I mean, we do have to cross 30 for some of our fields, but for us, like, I do it early Saturday morning. Not really that big of an issue. Or we are able to snake through town and get through that way. But there are farmers out there that this would greatly impact. You think about some of those smaller guys who are still on an open station tractor. Okay, if they have to be rerouted and that road is closed off, they could be looking at upwards 5 to 10 miles out of their way to be able to get to their field. And to them, that can have a great impact. So it's kind of a thing. Will it be safer? Absolutely. I know it's not necessarily the funnest thing in the world to, take a combine that's going 20, 25 mile per hour down 31 with
Right.
One lane of traffic because
Sure.
of construction. But it's just, it will be safer, but it will also impact a few guys here in Marshall County. And it probably impacts more than what you think. 'Cause we are built up of quite a few farmers who do farm 1,000 acres or less.
Right. Now, I know this is a different week, even though this week is Ag Week, but Farmer Safety Week is always something that we try to promote as well. Are we getting better at that?
I would like to think that we are. We're realizing guys, don't go out there and pick up that big heavy thing. There's a forklift over there.
Right.
Use the
That does that.
forklift. I know, for instance, Tony, if you go out to my truck out there, not only do I have a white beard to keep me warm, but I also have a hard hat now that I use quite frequently around the farm, and that's something
I think you
that
like it just because you act like you know you're working. That's why.
well,
you
we got to
hard hat.
pretend. We got to make Dad think that we're working.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. No, but in all seriousness, though,
But
it's
you start
big.
working, and it has a light on it, and I find myself more than not at 8 o'clock at night going out checking a grain dryer, putting on that hard hat, turning on the light, and pretty soon you hear a thump because I forgot that bar was sitting there. Unfortunately, it doesn't do much help. My wife will tell you that it doesn't help anything, but I guess it does prevent brain
Didn't knock any
loss.
sense into you after all, huh? All right.
But we're using more safety equipment. We're being aware of what's going on. A lot of farmers are switching away from hazardous materials like anhydrous ammonia and going to 28 for their nitrogen source.
And getting to know farmers like you, Charlie, a lot of people think that, you farmers bank. You make a lot of coin doing what you're doing. But no one even remotely knows the expenses it takes to run a farm, especially a farm your size. I mean, God forbid, even if you get a flat tire somehow, some way, or something in that engine just isn't working and you're shut down. And listen, it becomes very, very expensive to call someone in and fix your tractor. And and I know this too because I have my future son-in-law. He works on big mechanical, like farm tractors and stuff like that. And he's not cheap, because it's a specialty.
Correct.
It is a specialty that these guys do when they work on farm equipment. How often do you find yourself having to, if something breaks down, how often things break down, and your expenses got to be quite dynamic.
To give you an idea on expenses, we replaced semi-truck tires.
Oh, yeah, didn't even think about that.
If you think about, and keep in mind, we got 6 semi-trucks, so,
Right.
and we're kind of stingy.
Steer tires or no steer tires?
Yeah. But tires on a semi is $350 a piece.
Yeah, that's
It's
yeah.
unreal the amount of cost in these semis that, yeah.
And that also
She's-
depends.
8. So you have 4 regular and then 2 steer tires. No, not 4. 6 regular. No, 8 regular.
8 regular.
8 regular and then 2 steer tires.
No, it's more than that. It's 16. 2, 4, 6,
Oh, yeah,
8.
it is.
Yeah, it's 8.
Yeah.
And then you have the 2 in front. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's costly.
That's a lot of coin.
Yeah, that's a lot of coin.
A lot of coin in, a lot of coin out.
I just out of curiosity, for example, just pick one truck. I mean, how much are you changing the tires on one truck throughout a year? Let's
Depends
just
on
say.
how many fence posts they find.
Yeah, that would be a.
How many
One-
nails in the
scenario.
driveway?
How many nails are in the driveway?
Oh man. Okay.
What happens in the field?
Right.
What happens in the field stays in the field.
yeah.
I don't know how that happened, Dad, but it just blew up.
Seriously went poof. Yeah. But I mean, On the truck, how many?
Usually, tires have a life expectancy. There is a point in time where you do physically have to change the tires. And I'm not sure what that time frame is.
That once a season? What? Every 2 seasons?
For us,
minus accidents, obviously, like nails.
The trucks that we use on a regular basis that we keep up, we are changing those tires, like, I want to say every 2 years.
Okay. Yeah. That still adds up.
But that adds up.
You got 6 trucks.
Yeah.
That's quite expensive, to say the least. Well, we're talking about Ag Week and everything, agriculture and farming, and we just don't really have enough time to do all that. Plus, Brianna's got to go. But thank you guys for coming in and kind of talking a little bit about that. Thanks to Farm Bureau as well and their efforts. And Charlie, I've known you for years. You're a wonderful man, and we're very lucky to have you feeding us, and that's what you do. And I couldn't see you doing anything else because that white beard that you wear, you may pull off a Santa Claus, but you look more like a big wizard.
I was going to say a gnome.
A gnome.
Yeah.
There it is, the gnome. I love it. But thanks for coming in, both of you, and continue success in the agriculture business. And without you guys, we'd be in a lot of trouble. So thanks again.
Thanks for having us, Tony.
Yeah, thank you.
You betcha. All right, we got to get out of here, and we'll do so after the break.